Albigensian Crusade. The Church suspected both Eleanor and Marie as sympathizers of the Cathars, and this suspicion was strengthened by the actions of Eleanor's son-in-law, Raymond VI, Count of Toulouse, the son of Raymond V, one of the leaders of the First Crusade. Under the Carolingians, Septimania became part of the Kingdom of Aquitaine, but became a separate duchy in 817. As a separate entity, it disappeared from history in the 9th century, as the territory passed into the hands of the Counts of Toulouse, and was known from then on as the Languedoc region of southern France, termed Gothia or the Gothic March, Marca Gothica. Other names became regionally more prominent such as, Roussillon, Conflent, Razes or Foy, and the name Gothia along with the older name Septimania faded away during the 10th century, as the region fractured into smaller feudal entities, which sometimes retained Carolingian titles, but lost their Carolingian character, as the culture of Septimania evolved into the culture of Languedoc. The Counts of Foy, who ruled the independent county of Foy, in what is now southern France, trace their descent to the sons of Bernard Roger, Count of Bigorre. Bernard Roger's daughter Ermesinde married Ramiro I, the first king of Aragon. Their son married Sancho Ramirez, Felicia de Roucy, aunt of Rotro III, Count of Perche, whose son Stephen du Perche, Archbishop of Palermo, hired the services of Joachim of Fiore. Sancho Ramirez and Felicia's sons included Ferdinand, Alfonso I the Battler and Ramiro II of Aragon, who married Agnes of Aquitaine, the daughter of William IX, Duke of Aquitaine, and Philippa, Countess of Toulouse, niece of Raymond IV of Toulouse. Ramiro I's only daughter, Petronila of Aragon, married Raymond Berengar IV, Count of Barcelona. Their son was Alfonso II of Aragon, whose daughter Eleanor married Raymond VI of Toulouse, and whose other daughter Sancha married Raymond VI's son Count Raymond VII of Toulouse. The Counts of Toulouse trace their descent to Guillaume of Gelon, who appointed Count of Toulouse by Charlemagne at the Diet of Worms in 790. From the time of Raymond IV, a leader of the Princes' Crusade, the Counts of Toulouse were powerful lords in southern France. Raymond IV assumed the formal titles of Marquis of Provence, Duke of Narbonne and Count of Toulouse. While Raymond IV was away in the Holy Land, the rule of Toulouse was seized by William IX, Duke of Aquitaine, who claimed the city by right of his wife, Philippa, the daughter of Raymond IV's brother, Count William IV of Toulouse. However, at Raymond's death, the family's estates and Toulouse went to Bertrand's brother, Alfonso Jordan, Raymond IV's son by his third wife, Elvira of Castile, daughter of Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile. Alfonso Jordan's rule, however, was again disturbed by the ambition of William IX and his granddaughter, Eleanor of Aquitaine, who urged her husband Louis VII of France to support her claims to Toulouse by war. Upon her divorce from Louis and her subsequent marriage to Henry II of England, Eleanor pressed her claims through Henry, who at last, in 1173, forced Raymond V to do him homage for Toulouse. In 1196, Raymond V married Eleanor's daughter, Joan Plantagenet. Genealogy of Counts of Foy, Toulouse, and Aragon. Bernard Roger, Count of Bigorre, founder of the House of Foy. Pierre Bernard. Roger II. Roger III. Roger Bernard I plus Cécile Trencavel, D. Raymond I Trencavel. Esclarmonde of Foy, Cathar Parfait, Esclairement to Bertrand de Born and Wolfram von Eschenbach's Partival. Raymond Roger, Count of Foy plus Philippa of Montcada, Cathar Parfait. Roger Bernard II, Count of Foy plus Ermesinde, Viscountess of Castelbau, Cathar. Ermesinde of Bigorre plus Ramiro I, first King of Aragon. Sancho Ramirez plus Felicia de Roucy, aunt of Rotro III, Count of Perche, aka Perceval, and whose son Stephen du Perche hired Joachim of Fiore. Sancho Ramirez plus Felicia de Roucy. Alfonso I the Battler of Aragon and Navarre plus Urraca of Leon and Castile, D. of Alfonso VI plus Constance of Burgundy. Earlier married Raymond of Burgundy. Ramiro II plus Agnes of Aquitaine, d. of William IX the Troubadour, Duke of Aquitaine, plus Philippa, Countess of Toulouse, sister of Raymond IV of Toulouse, leader of the Princes' Crusade. Petronilla of Aragon plus Raymond Berengar IV, Count of Barcelona. Alfonso II of Aragon plus Sancha of Castile, daughter of Alfonso VII of Castile and Richeza of Poland. Peter II of Aragon. Eleanor plus Raymond VI of Toulouse. Sancha plus Count Raymond VII of Toulouse. Alfonso II of Aragon plus, possibly Adelaide de Berlat, mother of Raymond Roger Trencavel, Wolfram von Eschenbach's Perceval. Raymond V, a patron of the troubadours, died in 1194, and was succeeded by his son, Raymond VI, who married Joan Plantagenet, sister of Richard Lionheart, in 1196, and then Eleanor of Aragon, daughter of Alfonso II of Aragon and Sancha of Castile, in 1204. In 1194, Raymond VI, after he succeeded his father as Count of Toulouse, immediately re-established peace with Alfonso II of Aragon, and married his daughter, Eleanor of Aragon, Countess of Toulouse, 1182–1226, his last wife, in 1204. Eleanor's mother was Sancha of Castile, the daughter of Alfonso VII of Castile by his second wife, Richeza of Poland. Alfonso II and Sancha had at least 8 children who survived into adulthood. Among them were Constance of Aragon, 1179–1222, who married firstly King Imre of Hungary, the son of Bela III of Hungary, and secondly Frederick II, Holy Roman Emperor, the grandson of Frederick Barbarossa. Alfonso II and Sancha's other daughter, Sancha of Aragon, married the Cathar Count Raymond VII of Toulouse, 1197–1249, the son of Raymond VI from Joan Plantagenet. In the times of Alfonso II, the majority of troubadours were members of the Cathars. 32 Alfonso II was a composer himself and was known in consequence as El Troubadour. Raymond VI was the most ardent defender of the Cathars when the Church finally launched the Albigensian Crusade against southern France in 1209. On becoming Pope in 1198, Innocent III resolved to deal with the Cathars and sent a delegation of friars to the Languedoc to assess the situation. Innocent turned to Philip II of France, and urged him to either force Raymond VI to deal with the heresy or depose him militarily. Philip II was the son of King Louis VII and his third wife, Adela of Champagne, the sister of Henry I of Champagne, and was married to Marie of France, the daughter of Louis VII from his previous wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine. Raymond VI had been married to Joan of England, the daughter of Eleanor of Aquitaine from of Henry II of England. However, Philip was engaged in conflict with Joan's brother, King John of England, and was unwilling to get involved in a separate conflict in the Languedoc. 33. Raymond VI was excommunicated in 1207 and an interdict was placed on his lands. Innocent tried to deal with the situation diplomatically by sending a number of preachers, many of them monks of the Cistercian order, to convert the Cathars. They were under the direction of the senior papal legate, Pierre de Castelnau. The following morning, Pierre was killed by one of Raymond VI's knights. Pope Innocent declared Raymond VI anathematized and released all of his subjects from their oaths of obedience to him. However, Raymond VI soon made an attempt to reconciliation with the Church by sending legates to Rome and the excommunication was lifted. However, at the Council of Avignon in 1209, Raymond was again excommunicated for failing to fulfill the conditions of reconciliation. Innocent III then called for a crusade against the Albigensians. In 1209, an army of some 30,000 knights and foot soldiers from northern Europe descended on the Languedoc, and in reference to the Languedoc centre at Albi, the campaign was called the Albigensian Crusade. The Edict of Annihilation referred not only to the mystical Cathars themselves, but to all who supported them, which included most of the people of Languedoc. When an officer inquired of the Pope's representative how he might distinguish heretics from true believers, the infamous reply was, "Kill them all. Let God sort them out." It was Raymond VI's nephew, Raymond Roger Trencavel, Viscount of Béziers and Carcassonne, 1185–1209, who faced the full force of the First Crusade. The Trencavel family were descended from Bernard 804, d. 1129, who had joined the army of Raymond IV of Toulouse to fight in the First Crusade. Bernard 804's son Roger I Trencavel, d. 1150, was a notable benefactor of the Templars and a fervent crusader. 34 In 1138, Roger I swore an oath of fidelity to Alfonso Jourdan, Count of Toulouse, along with his brothers Bernard Adovie and Raymond I Trencavel. In 1150, Raymond I made a treaty whereby he swore fealty to Raymond Berengar IV, Count of Barcelona, and agreed to hold Carcassonne, Razes, and Lautrec from the Count as a vassal. 35 Throughout his career, Raymond had very good relations with Alfonso Jourdan, the son of Raymond IV of Toulouse by his third wife, Elvira of Castile, and the father of Raymond V, and accompanied him on the Second Crusade in 1147. 36 By his wife Soeur, Raymond I left a son and successor, Roger II Trencavel, d. 1194, who inherited all his Viscounties, but was unable to occupy Béziers until 1168, despite a siege led by Alfonso II of Aragon on his behalf in 1167. 37. The counts and viscounts of Carcassonne protected their Jewish subjects and granted them many privileges. Although the settlement of Jews at Carcassonne dates back as the early centuries AD, official documents relating to them are not found until the 12th century. A cartulary of the Templars of Douzens in 1162 mentions a territory called Honor Judaicus in the area of Carcassonne. In 1142, a Jew named Bonisach gives his approval as lord of the manor to a donation of a vineyard made by its owners to the Templars. A similar case occurs 41 years later when 4 Jews, joint lords of the manor, sign a deed of conveyance of vineyards bought by the Templars. One of the signers, Moses Caranita, held the office of bailiff. Raymond I Trencavel interceded with the bishops of his dominions to abolish the abuses to which the Jews were subjected during Holy Week. His son Roger II Trencavel took the most prominent Jews among under his personal protection. For example, he secured the freedom of Abraham ben David of Posquières, who had been thrown into prison by the Lord of Posquières, and gave him shelter at Carcassonne. 38 Abraham ben David, who is regarded as a father of Kabbalah, was the father of Isaac the Blind, the purported author of the Sefer HaBa'er, the first work of the medieval Kabbalah. As a child in 1153, Roger II was placed in the custody and service of Ermengarde of Narbonne, 1127 or 1129 to 1197. 39 Ermengarde corresponded with many troubadours, including Pierre Rogier, Girot de Bornel, Pierre d'Alverne, Pons d'Orteva and Salve d'Escola, as well as the troubadours Azala de Porqueragues. Around 1190, a French cleric named André Le Chapelain wrote a treatise on courtly love making reference to judgments of love attributed to Eleanor of Aquitaine, Marie of France and Ermengarde. In 1177, Roger joined an alliance with Ermengarde and William VIII of Montpellier, d. 1202, to prevent Raymond V from seizing Narbonne. In 1179, he was forced to forswear his former alliance with Raymond V and return to the fold of Alfonso II of Aragon. 40 William VIII of Montpellier was the son of Matilda of Burgundy, the granddaughter of Odo I, Duke of Burgundy, brother of Henry I of Burgundy, Count of Portugal. Matilda's sister Sibylla married Roger II of Sicily. Raymond Roger married William VIII's daughter Agnes. Roger II Trencavel and Adelaide's son was Raymond Roger Trencavel, whose cousin Esclarmonde of Foix was a prominent figure associated with Catharism. Esclarmonde was the daughter of Roger I's sister, Cecile Trencavel, who married Roger Bernard I, Count of Foix, the great-grandson of Ermesinde of Bigorre's brother, Pierre Bernard, Count of Foix. Esclaramonde's brother was Raymond Roger, Count of Foix, d. 1223. Raymond Roger was a staunch ally of Raymond VI of Toulouse and was famed for his generalship, chivalry, fidelity, and affection for haute couture. He accompanied the Philip II, King of France on crusade to the Holy Land in 1191 and was present at the siege of Ascalon and at the fall of Saint Jean d'Acre. Raymond Roger was a patron of troubadours, an author of verse himself. Though not a Cathar himself, several of his relatives were. His wife, Philippa of Montcada, even became a parfait. 41 He also installed a house for Cathar perfects, directed by his mother, on one of the estates of the local abbey. 42 Raymond Roger was a great orator, and attended the Fourth Lateran Council of 1215 to defend Raymond VI of Toulouse before Innocent III and the council. He himself was accused of having murdered priests and did not deny it. Instead he informed the Pope that he regretted not having murdered more. 43 He was succeeded by his son, Roger Bernard II, c. 1195–1241, called the Great, who married Ermesinde, Viscountess of Castelbau and a Cathar. The significance of Esclarmonde names meaning, i.e. clarity of the world, is explored in several medieval epic poems including one referred to as Esclairmonde, by Bertrand de Born, and in Partival by Wolfram von Eschenbach. She received the Cathar sacrament, the consolamentum, for becoming a Cathar perfect from the Cathar bishop Guilabert de Casters. A tradition which is based on a reworking of the Chanson de la Croisade Albigeoise, written in Languedoc between 1208 and 1219, attributes to her the initiative of the reconstruction of the Cathar fortress of Montsegur. 44. Genealogy of Trencavel. Bernard A. Dauphin joined the army of Raymond IV to Toulouse to fight in the First Crusade, plus Cecilia of Provence. Bernard A. Dauphin. Roger I. Trencavel, notable benefactor of the Templars and fervent crusader. Raymond I. Trencavel plus Soeur. Cecile Trencavel plus Roger Bernard I, Count of Foy. Esclarmonde of Foy, Cathar parfait, Esclairmonde to Bertrand de Born and Wolfram von Eschenbach's Partival. Raymond Roger, Count of Foy plus Philippa of Montcada, Cathar parfait. Roger Bernard II, Count of Foy plus Ermesinde, Viscountess of Castelbau, Cathar. Roger II Trencavel plus Adelaide of Béziers, D. of Raymond V. of Toulouse. Raymond Roger Trencavel, Wolfram von Eschenbach's Perceval, plus Agnes of Montpellier. Raymond II Trencavel, cared for during his youth by Raymond Roger, Count of Foy and his son Roger Bernard II. Some authors have identified Raymond Roger Trencavel with Percival of Grail legend. Raymond Roger's mother Adelaide is named in the poems of several troubadours, including Girot de Salignac and Pons de la Guardia, who participated in the siege of Conca on the side of Alfonso II of Aragon, and later in the campaign against Bring Raymond V of Toulouse. Raymond Roger's mother Adelaide is called Countess of Berlatz in the Vita of the famous troubadour Arnaud de Meruel, who was apparently in love with her. 45 Alfonso II of Aragon was a rival to Adelaide's affections, and according to the Razzo to one of Arnaud's poems, the king jealously persuaded her to break off her friendship with Arnaud. 46 Alfonso II was reported to have later proposed marriage to Adelaide. 47. As was the case with many names of the time, as indicated Adolfo Salazar and Gilbert Chase, Trencavel was derived from warlike feats, such that the verb piercer, to pierce, if replaced by the verb trencar, to slice, would render Perceval. According to Wolfram von Eschenbach, thou hast for name Partival, which name means that which passes through. 48 To Wolfram von Eschenbach, Alfonso el Custos, as he calls him, married Hersloide, the mother of Parsifal. Hersloide was the Germanized name of Adelaide, retained in Wagner's libretto. To Guillaume de Provence, Wolfram's source, Hersloide is the Viscountess Adelaide of Carcassonne, the domina of Alfonso II. At the beginning of the 13th century, Guillaume de Provence named his protectors, who included, Frederick Barbarossa, Louis VII of France, Henry II of England, Henry the Young King, Richard the Lionheart, Alfonso II of Aragon and Raymond V of Toulouse. 49. Raymond VI's second wife was Raymond Roger's aunt, Beatrice of Béziers. They divorced in 1189 and she retired to a Cathar nunnery. 50 Raymond VI had proposed an alliance with Raymond Roger, and when the offer was rejected he offered his submission to the Crusaders but was refused and raced back to Carcassonne to prepare for attack, sending all Jews away to safety. 51 When the Crusaders, led by a papal legate, Arnaud Amaury, abbot of Citeaz, laid siege to Carcassonne, Raymond Roger Trencavel accepted terms of surrender but was taken prisoner and died in his own dungeon. Following the Crusaders' successful wars against Raymond VI and his son Raymond VII, the counts were required to discriminate against Jews as were other Christian rulers. In 1209, Raymond VI, stripped to the waist and barefoot, was obliged to swear in the presence of 19 bishops and 3 archbishops, that he would no longer allow Jews to hold public office. In 1229, his son and heir, Raymond VII, underwent a similar ceremony where he was obliged to prohibit the public employment of Jews, this time at Notre Dame in Paris. Explicit provisions on the subject were included in the Treaty of Meaux, 1229. 52 Final defeat came upon the Cathars at their famous stronghold of Montségur in 1244, when more than 200 Cathar perfects were massacred by the Christian forces. Raymond Roger's son, Raymond II Trencavel, 1207, 1263–1267, was only 2 years old when his father died in prison. Raymond's youth after his surrender of his hereditary offices and lands was spent in the care of Raymond Roger of Foix and his successor, Roger Bernard II of Foix. 53 Raymond continued to rule Limoux as a vassal of the Count of Foix until the Treaty of Meaux, when all formerly Trencavel lands were surrendered to the French crown.